Is the treble the dream come true for you?
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
When you see your players give all that they have and you lose that way, it's tough. You know, you don't want that for them. So, but we'll be better for it, you know. And there again, credit Minnesota, but you know, we made the one mistake that cost us, you know, and so ultimately, you know, we didn't do enough to win, but I was proud of them, and I love the fight they have in them, and I love the grit.
Love the grit, sir. Lions coach Dan Campbell, I don't even know who he is. Is he still the coach of that team? But either way, he's become a bit of spirit animal for Manchester United, for us, at least the American Red Devils. Tough day at the office today. 3-1 against the Gunners down in London. Wasn't what people thought it would be. Everyone thought we'd get blown out from the jump. Good match. I think United grew into the match. Certainly, you know, didn't play a full 90 of perfect football, but I thought we showed a lot of promise. Got back into it, and ultimately didn't play well enough to win, in my opinion, but I think we played well enough not to lose. But this is the breaks, you know, like basically score the winner in the 88th minute with Garnacho. We'll talk about that offsides call in a bit. Sir, excuse factory, baby. That's what I'm here for. This is what Alex does at the American Red Devils. And then that gets overturned, and then they go on and score in the 96th minute, and then the 111th minute to ice the game against Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire, you know, the Leicester City starting back line for 2019. But either way, a lot of ugliness going on in Manchester United at the moment heading into the transfer window. Glazers not selling. We'll talk about that later in the news. We end up the transfer window. We're going to recap that after we talk about the Arsenal game. You get the Sancho drama. You got drama everywhere. What would it be at Manchester United when it's a calm day? Never is the case. But how we doing? How we feeling?
Holy shit, that is the right thing to say. It's never a calm day at Manchester United, and what a day. I mean, there's games that you can lose. There's games you can win. Man, I was like pissed off winning against Wolves, and I'm actually decently positive about losing to the Gunners, if you can believe it. So many different subplots in this game. I'm going to say the first half was just like a nightmare. Arsenal sitting off of us. Onana basically just playing out the back all day. Couldn't get anything in behind. Smash and grab with Rashford. But second half, we finally took the gloves off. We went for it. You know, we were throwing shots. They were throwing shots. Obviously, the Garnacho goal. Like, don't get me started on those stupid lines. We showed some fight. Away at the Emirates, hung in there. Like I said, first half was a little rough, but, you know, the second half played a lot better. I thought you started seeing like a proper football team with characters out there ready to fight. Saw Højlund. He was like, every time he backed into a defender, I almost had a heart attack. He was just only backing into people with a broken back. I was like literally about to die. But this team showed some fight. We played football in the second half, the best football we played. And you know what? You know, fuck VAR, fuck this bullshit. Everything's been about the refs and VAR. It's just a nightmare, honestly. The way that they're putting like 12 minutes on the end of the games, etc.
Crazy. So. What was that shit? 12 minutes? Was there some kind of like crazy? I guess there was the VAR call, and then there was the other VAR call when they overturned, rightly so, the penalty when Havertz fucking dived. But dude, every game, even this game. Okay, the City game, the Chelsea, every game's been about bad calls and VAR calls, and I don't want to make this all about bad calls. I like the positivity, John. It makes me so happy to hear a little bit of like glass half full, because we played real football in the second half, and what we really did is we started playing football at the 62nd minute. When Rasmus Højlund came out of the field, I feel like we looked like a different team. The legs were starting to tire a little bit midfield. I thought Eriksen did great for playing 100 minutes. We usually can't see him put that kind of performance in. But like you said, I don't even think he got a kick of the ball, and he has me excited again. He was bodying up Saliba. He was sprinting. I haven't seen Martial move that fast in 5 years. And you know what? Headed into the international break. We have all these injuries piling up, which is a concern, especially at center back. But there are positive things in this team. There are strengths that we can lean on. And it's a long season, like you said. We're officially at the 10% mark of the EPL season, but there's so much left to go. We got the Champions League draw. We got that to talk about. Everything's going on.
No, but there was a spark there in the second half. I feel like we finally got back to our game. Like you said, Hoyland coming on. But even before that, we just instead of playing this, I felt like we've been overly trying to play this kind of cute game. Like we're playing out the back. We were doing long ball, which made no sense. And then finally the manager made the adjustment. And the adjustment worked. And we looked like we could win the game. And I think we did win the game with that Garnacho goal. I don't think there's any way the footballing gods should be disallowing spectacular finishes like that. Realistically, probably should have been a draw. Tough taste in the mouth, though, to lose 3-1. Like the Jesus goal, the Jesus goal was only because we went for broke.
Right.
But the real crime, and ultimately this will tie into the transfer window discussion that we have, is we have an incomplete football team.
Correct.
And the incomplete football team that we have is, love Johnny Evans. Here's Johnny. Why are we taking off? Why are we taking off Victor Lindelof? Like Johnny Evans should be on the team. He shouldn't be coming on in the 90th minute. And also Magoo shouldn't be playing at all as well. The fact that we're going to these guys, obviously due to injuries, et cetera, just shows you how jacked our team is and how we can't move on. We can't move the dead wood. We can't make replacements. And that's on the front office, which is ultimately on the Glazers because they don't think they need a competent front office, which they obviously do. And so you want to see what Ten Hag has and what he got. I mean, I would say it's probably a few games too late, but we finally saw some good football from this team, some dogs in this team that are tired running around, fighting for United. I was buzzing on that second half. And to see it all come crumbling down with some shambolic set-piece defending, that is just Manchester United over the last decade and an incomplete team where you can't sell players, et cetera. So until the Glazers get gone, we're going to be seeing this movie again. And, Ten Hag finally got the boys to do it, but the roster let them down at the end of the day. And it is unfortunate. But, sir, quick PSA for the podcast before we get into this game and break it all down. If you want to support the Muppet Take, please check out our Patreon page. All of our podcasts are ad-free, no commercial sponsors. We're 100% fan-backed. You want to join the creme de la creme of the ARD fam, sign up at patreon.com/America Red Devils. Big shout out to Austin Bergeron and Jack for supporting us on Patreon. You guys are the real MVPs. Also check out our store, americadevils.store. We got scarves, shirts, beanies, hats, everything. You want to support us that way, go ahead, grab some merch, and check out our website, americadevils.com. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews of the American Devils podcast, wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. It helps us get found organically by other Muppets like yourself. And we're giving away free scarves, free American Red Devil design scarves. All you have to do is write a 5-star review wherever you listen, ideally on iTunes or Spotify, and send a screenshot at AmericanRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick, pack, and ship a free ARD scarf, send it right to your door anywhere in the world. Here's a great one from Skylar Cunningham. Up the FN Reds. I absolutely love the show, guys. I've been a major United fan since I was a kid, living in Jackson, Mississippi. You don't run into too many soccer fans in general. It's very refreshing to see people just as passionate as I am about our Red Devils. Keep up the fantastic work, guys. Much love from the SIP. Thank you, Skylar. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone writing those terrific 5-star reviews. They go a long way. John, I think you made such a great point before we did the About Us. Dude, it's an incomplete squad. It's like at the end of the day, Johnny Evans has all the feels in the world. Love the guy. He was great under Fergie. Bring him back as like a pseudo coach, fucking cheerleader, whatever you want. But if you look at comps, in the league. City signed in a 35-year-old. They signed Company back on like a 1-year deal. No, they ain't. Arsenal ain't. Liverpool ain't. And we are. And we weren't able to say Harry Maguire. So they brought off Lindelof because he got injured. And then who's next in line? That's Johnny Evans. And tell you what, Johnny Evans, love him, but against the top team, he looks like he's going to get fucking cooked. And he looks like he got cooked every time he was out there. So it's the Glazers. It's going to be the Glazers. They're the story of the day, and they'll be the story throughout as long as they're here. But at least in game week 4, we finally started to see some fight of the lads. Took till game week 3 last year, that Liverpool game. Today, especially the second half, especially I'm telling you, when Hoyland came on, and Casemiro was you see that moment when he was up at him? He was getting them all fucking excited. Sorry, sir. I'm just excited based on, the Hoyland Casemiro connect. the news. Here we go. Yeah.
All right, let's get into that 11. That's right, we're talking Arsenal 3, Manchester United 1 at the Emirates. We had Onana in net, Delo left back, Martinez, Lindelof, center back pairing. We're already dropping like flies back there. AWB at right back, Eriksson, Casemiro, Bruno midfield, Rashford on the left, Martial up top, and Antony on the right. How are we feeling about this 11?
I mean, it picked itself. All the injuries, it's like they're not going to put Reguilon as left back. Jesus Christ, we'll talk about that signing in a bit. But Delo, he factors, right? The midfield is unchanged. The new lad from Morocco, whose name we will figure out to say by, hopefully the end of September, he's not ready. And then the front three, no big surprises. Højlund's not going to start. Martial up front, Rashford on the left where he belongs and where he looks the most dangerous. And, Erik ten Hag, he loves Antony. He's playing there. And Jadon Sancho and McTominay. Those are the big shockers. Dan Gore was in the squad. Hannibal was in the squad. Both of those other two kind of mainstays were not in the squad. I was wondering if that had anything to do with the transfer window just closing. McTominay being attached to Fulham, him backing it up. I don't know. What did you think of the 11 when you saw it, sir?
This 11, I was like, I was nervous. Ultimately, you see in the back line, Delo out of position, who ended up having a great game, by the way, shutting down Saka.
He did.
I did figure it out. It is Amrabat, so we signed him. I got his name down. We're good to go.
The M is first, right? Amrabat. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and then Martial, just concerned generally going back to Martial here. Didn't show me a lot. I felt like if Arsenal was on top form, this team should get just absolutely cooked at the Emirates. So I was a little nervous. And we did start a little nervous. It was weird. I felt like Arsenal came out. We thought they were going to be pressing high. So we were kind of playing around, playing games at the back with Onana, thinking they were going to press high, draw them in, and then maybe go over the top, I think was what Ten Hag was thinking. Maybe win the ball or win second balls high up the pitch. We had a sniff at one, and it actually looked like a great chance for United. But just the way the game set up was pretty cagey. A lot of possession out of the back for United. And Arsenal kind of in a mid-block. So it was kind of awkward. Did ultimately play into their hands. 14th minute, ball dropped to Kai Havertz, who's having a rough time for the Gunners. Absolutely whiffs. I mean, this should have been a goal. I mean, this is just slop shop. Again, United looked sloppy. Couldn't defend set pieces, conceding tons of corners. They were turning the screws. And then against the run of play, Rashford gets one opportunity. Eriksson releases him, and he would easily bury it.
27th minute.
With 3 ahead of him this time. And he's enlisted Rashford. Manchester United on a rare break. Rashford with an angle, and Rashford with the opening goal. Entirely against the run of the play.
Entirely against the run of play, sir. That's how we like to do it at the American Doubles podcast. That pass from Eriksson was so good that you were hoping Rashford could find a way to score, and find a way to score he does. Comes in from the left, looked great from the left all day. Switched a little bit when Garnacho came on, was playing on the right a little bit, but electric stuff, like you said. United were kind of just sitting back. We weren't very, I think we came out okay, but we didn't come out confident at all. Like a lot of Onana ball, a lot of like midfield not coming to get the ball, but either way, just takes one opportunity. Rashford looking so dangerous, and an unbelievable finish from our number 10.
And like all strong teams in good form, conceding right after the smash and grab. 28th minute.
And Ketia. It's Erdogan! It's 1-1, and that is a response.
And this is what you can't do, right? It's so hard to get a goal. First great chance you score, and then we've done this before. I mean, this is kind of the mentality, the lack of being a mentality monster at this current Manchester United side is you can't concede such an easy goal. I thought our midfield was really good today, but this is where we fucking blew it. Was like right away conceding a goal after it was so hard to get one. And it was basically, they made it look nice, but nobody was there for the cutback. Should be Eriksson, but either way, it's just sleepwalking, dude, as usual.
Well, and honestly, if you look at the first half, this goal had been coming. They got to the touchline a lot. They were getting tons of corners. Martinelli was, AWB didn't give him a lot, but he was having his way on the left-hand side of the pitch.
He was.
We were cagey playing it out the back. Look, the manager started the game, the player started the game. Our tactics didn't really set up here. I mean, this was a rough first half. We get the smash and grab, then we concede right away. It's 1-1 coming into halftime. At that time, we have to be thinking like, all right, we didn't play our best football, probably didn't have the best game plan, but we're tied away against Arsenal. This is a good result. And ultimately, what you have to judge the manager on is, did he make the adjustment? And we did. We came out with a lot more confidence in the second half. I felt like the shackles were off. We kind of gave up that weird cagey, played out the back and find long balls in the channels. And we actually just started going toe-to-toe with the Gunners, which we looked pretty good. 55th minute, great chance for United. Martial with a chance, and Rashford with a big rebound. Nice block from the keeper, that Arsenal keeper who I don't like, Ramsdale, too much. But again, United kind of growing into the game, and I felt like this is the confidence that we needed to get. This is the team I've been waiting to show up here. And to that end, there was a 59th minute penalty shout. Not even close to a penalty here. I'm surprised VAR overturned it. This is the right call. This is what VAR should be doing, because Kai Havertz, once again, absolute bluffer.
I mean, I was shocked we got the call. That's what VAR's for, right? He dove. It's hard. It was a hard one probably to spot on the field, right? Because there was a guy on either side of him. It looked like there was contact. There really wasn't contact. And then when you slow it down, you realize that he just made a meal of it. So I was shocked we got the VAR overturned, but if you get some good luck on an away ground in this day and age, well, the luck's probably going to go against you at some point in the match, you would think.
67th minute double sub, Højlund and Maguire for Martial and Martinez. Martinez with a hell of a challenge. He goes down injured again. I'm hoping this is an Eric Bailly 2.0 because we love the defender, love the tenacity, but these injuries,
don't say that,
for our center backs are stacking. And that's exactly what we can't have, considering we literally left it too late in the transfer window and didn't get rid of Magoo. There was a big break here in the 70th minute for Marcus Rashford. Odd man rush. He had Højlund. He had Anthony. Absolutely horrific decision from him. Doesn't pass when they were both open. Cuts it back to nothing. Loses possession. I had to feel like you got to call Rashford out on that one, because part of having a number 9 is you got to feed him. I feel like we haven't had a number 9, so we haven't had to feed anybody. This one definitely left a poor taste in my mouth because we should be feeding Højlund. We have him. He's on the pitch.
And he wants to be fed. He's a hungry hippo. That guy, he's just dying for the ball. I don't remember the ball hitting his foot, but everything else was great. His movement was good. He was making runs off the ball. He was bodying Saliba. He looks fucking huge. We haven't seen him at all, right? We haven't really seen him in training. He obviously hasn't made a squad yet. And just to see him on the field, I think there's a confidence in the side when he's there, even though he's 20. So that just speaks to the kind of the gravitas he has. But I agree. Rashford should have done much better. But shout out to Højlund, because the speed at which he was running to kind of keep up with Rashford was just exciting, because we haven't had a number 9 working that hard in a long time.
82nd minute, huge save from Onana. Saka had the ball on a plate, had the whole net to shoot at. He shoots it right at Onana, but big stuff from the big keeper. I mean, he is growing into probably my favorite player on the team. Absolute character on the pitch. The way he reacts to the yellow card that he got, everything he does is just he's just daring them to come get the ball, so he can make him look like a fool. You just love him. The big man at the back. Please don't play in the African Cup of Nations. 84th minute double sub, Garnacho and Evans for Lindelof and Anthony. Can't believe Johnny Evans got onto the pitch so soon. I feel like we were just losing center back after center back. He came on, immediately got dusted.
Murdered.
It looked like I was like, oh, Johnny. I'm a big Johnny fan, but I was like, oh, Johnny.
He should be in the championship, bro. He got fighting, dusted.
No, people want to. This fan base, you want to have a go at a guy. It's you're having a go at a former title winner for Manchester United who shouldn't be on the pitch, for the record.
No, it's not his fault.
There's no game plan for him to come. It's not like, hey, let's go to Johnny Evans. It's just we have a horrible director of football. The club's broke. But it's like the only reason why he's here and people want to come kill Johnny Evans is like, for me, look, he is what he is, and you can maybe play him against Burnley, but you can't play him against the Gunners when you need to keep the ball out of the net here. 88th minute, this is the heartbreaker. Garnacho scores. Hoyland with a great touch to Cass, who finds Garnacho with the pass. I thought this was the game winner. I ran throughout my house, kicked stuff, yelling, screaming, hooting, hollering. I loved this second half. I loved this game-winning goal. And then, obviously, the VAR gods. This is the most cruel VAR call I think I've ever seen.
Looked on.
Given.
Looked on.
It was, the way, also the fact VAR is an absolute farce.
It is.
You heard Mike Dean make the call.
He admitted it.
He admitted it. He basically said, hey, my buddy was having a rough game. I didn't want to send him over there. These referees are absolutely fucking awful. And this whole the way it's just there's no accountability. No one knows how the fuck these lines are drawn. It's like the angle the camera's off. His head's being pushed, but then his head's forward, but then it's off the shoulder. This whole thing is just absolutely, I know it's so inaccurate. I know it's completely inaccurate. And that's the whole thing is you have this completely inaccurate system, and then you're going to go by millimeters off of this. And it's that's why the lines should be thicker so that there's a margin of error, but we're going to have the lines be thicker. So if they touch, then this whole thing is just kills the game. It's horrible for football. I'm obviously biased, but how does that goal not go? You want more exciting goals in the game. If this was Arsenal against us, you want that in the game. You want these late goals. It's amazing play. They have to stand, and for them to take it back off of that is madness. This will happen maybe for a few more seasons. They will take this away because this is the worst thing for the game. It has to be tie goes to the runner. You have to be default more goals in the game versus taking them away. And ultimately, I don't know if you have a thought on the Garnacho before we get to the heartbreak.
No, I think you said it right, sir. You call it Boston Detroit. I think this has been building the VAR backlash. It's just so inconsistent. It's not the same crew week in, week out. You talked about personal biases of protecting friends, which I get, they're friends, but protect the refs from themselves by just having one team do VAR every week. That's the way you should do it. And like you said, I'd rather these type of goals are given. Whether they go against United or for United, I think it's better for the sport because if it passes the eye test, you looked at that. I'm sure, so I wasn't watching the game with you, but I'm sure you and I both would have been he's on. You saw it. It looked on. It looked like the way the other guy, the defender was leaning in, kept him onside. And it's just bad for the game, bro.
Because they're drawing the lines. It's like a person is.
They decide the line.
They try to act. Yes, they try to act as if the computer is determining. It's literally a person is drawing those lines down, and then they're stopping the frame at So and that's a whole other part of the whole offsides is when do you at what frame did he kick the ball?
Good question too.
Right. So there's so much human fuckery in there, and for them to say that it's 100% accurate. And that's why you have to have, in ice hockey, they just made the blue line is what makes things offsides without going into exactly how hockey works. They just made the line wider so that it was more forgiving for offsides. So these really thin margin calls won't stand. So if you actually just made the lines wider for the striker and the defender, then they would overlap and it'd be on, right? And this is the case, the exact case where nobody is trying to care over a half an inch versus taking away an amazing goal from a young player who, and what the ruthlessness for the finish.
What a goal.
I mean, come on. I got to get, and this is the point that I'm trying to say is there's a team here.
There is
a team here, right? And, Garnacho is a player, he's a sub first, but just the way to finish this goal, doing it away, and the lads did it. I'm going to say, they got hard done here by a millimeter, but the lads came, first half, they got kicked in the teeth playing shit football. They came out. They didn't give up. They got this goal, and you got to have a good feeling. And that's about the last of the good feeling. As far as last of the good feelings will go, because we're going to get into this. Just play the Rice goal. Play the Jesus. Jesus doing me dirty here.
96th minute.
It's Declan Rice! Arsenal have won it!
And I didn't pay too much attention to what Ten Hag said. But Evans is fouled there by the guy that pulls him down.
Of course.
I was like, why is Rice all by himself out wide with no one coming in? So he totally got fouled. And he gets a deflection. Should Onana do better? Maybe. Does De Gea save it? Probably. Maybe not. Who knows? But like, there was definitely a foul there, and I didn't even recognize until just now watching the replay, sir. So, bro, this VAR thing is a shit sandwich. And here we go. Like you said, 111th minute as United were pushing for the equalizer.
He locates Gabriel Jesus. Is this the grand finale? It still might be. It is.
And then you just add an insult to injury. Evans catching up to him and then fucking going past him as Jesus gets the goal. And you know what? They celebrate. They won the 2022 Premier League title. Congratulations to Arsenal. Oh wait, you didn't. You bottled it, and you're not catching up to City. And
tell me how you really feel.
Yeah,
Look,
salty. I'm salty.
On the Declan Rice goal and just rewatching it, number one, I'm gonna say we did not look good defending from corners and set pieces. We have not looked good since the start of the season. We haven't looked good since 2013, since Sir Alex Ferguson was our coach. Honestly,
maybe
we haven't
Mourinho.
figured out.
Mourinho.
No one has. Fine. Nobody can get these guys to defend. Also, there was a quick throw in, and Martinez was the only one turned on.
Yeah.
There's been multiple times where United, it's the ball goes out of bounds, everyone switches off, sulks, and teams know that we shut off, and they're literally trying the quick throw in, quick kick, because they know that we're just not focused, we're not paying attention, and they did that here. And Martinez was right on it. Nobody else was, and that's this team. It's sloppy, and you look at this corner. Johnny Evans clearly fouled, and Magoo is the one who's kind of floats over there and then does nothing. And from my perspective, everyone's killing Johnny Evans. He is who he is. I'm not going to go hard in on him. If you watch the corner, he's fouled. Not enough for VAR to take away this goal. But then he kind of fouls him back. It's kind of like a tussle. But Magoo's the one who just clearly always just doesn't play to where he should be playing. The dangers of Declan Rice, he just doesn't come out and cover it. He just is raising his hand for whatever reason and then starts shouting at the referee after he scores. So again, United have been sloppy defending corners and set pieces. And that's just more of the same. So to say the narrative of Johnny Evans.
I'm not blaming Johnny Evans.
But if you listen to the fans, this whole narrative of this game is about how Johnny Evans is horrible or whatever. And it's there's more to it than that. It's 96th minute. We're exhausted. We shut off. And Johnny Evans and Magoo shouldn't be on the pitch for Manchester United, but they are. And that's because we have a shit front office. So, it's a tough one, but you have to go back to the 88th minute and say, team was playing well. I thought we were the more confident team.
Definitely.
We had them. I think the VAR call gave them a little bit of gave them a lift.
100%.
And ultimately, we probably deserved to win that game, honestly. And you have to take a little pride in that. As much as it stings to take this L, you got to put some hot sauce on it, and just down she goes, sir. That's just how you have to take it.
I like that. I like more. I need more of that hot sauce, hot shooter. Like you said, if this game ends 88th minute, we score that goal, we win this game. Because I think they get it overturned. They got so much momentum, and then they got stoppage time for days. You can't blame Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans joined on a free transfer at 35 years old. Maguire joined for 80 fucking million pounds and wouldn't leave because he wouldn't accept United's buyout to join West Ham. So they are not the same. And that's the game.
Well, he didn't play well. It's fair to say Johnny Evans doesn't look like he should be playing.
He should be, but like you said, but no team should be throwing him in. It's like you said, it's not on Johnny Evans to be thrown into the deep end against the second best team in the league. We like Johnny. We like Johnny.
We like Johnny. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is, the Wolves game we won. It's not I'm not going to ignore how shit we played and then be ecstatic because we won. It's no, we lost today, but there's something to be excited about. And it's that second half. It's Garnacho at that finish. It's the lads fighting, hanging in. And we got hard done. And the problem that you're seeing with the English Premier League is, no one's going to beat City, which isn't good for business.
No, it's
you
not.
need parity in the league, which is the argument for the salary cap, etc. And This whole like adding 15 minutes to every fucking game is insane. And then the whole VAR controversy, every game, it's not good. I knew we would enter the period that like the NFL, everyone has entered replay. It always got to the point where it was ruining games and it requires like material adjustment. I think that it took them a decade to get it right in the NFL. And we're probably in that sort of dark ages of the replays just ruining the game, because I think VAR did more harm than good in this game, ultimately. It probably should have been 2-2. They get the pen. We get the Garnacho goal, and it probably finishes even. I think that really the gods had that score line in mind, 2-2.
Draw would have been a fair result. And we pipped them, and we would have been really celebrating the long weekend in the States if we got the 2-1 Garnacho winner. It would have been great for the team. But at the end of the day, you're right, sir. It's like every game this weekend beyond Manchester United is about the VAR calls. Like City, there was a howler. Chelsea, there's a howler. Spurs, there's a howler. And it shouldn't be about the VAR. It should be the football. And
exactly.
I hope you're right. I hope it's like they always they try new technology into a live sport. It's easier said than done, right? It's like they want to do it a certain way, and they need to fix it. And they need to look to how other leagues in Europe are doing it and how they've learned from it. Because right now, VAR, we've been talking about this, the inconsistency from game to game is a killer. You've no idea what is a foul, what's a yellow, what's a red, what's a handball. How about that handball against Spurs? It's like no fucking clue. It just depends on like the mood of the ref and the boys up in the VAR room on that given day.
No, it's and the one that you highlighted against City, where it's like this happened to De Gea twice and once against Arsenal with fucking Lamela, the Xhaka, who hit the goal where De Gea was screened by an offside player, and they will never call that. They will never make that call. Like for whatever reason, that even though the player's offsides and blocks the goalie, they'll never make that call. It's just like, and that's when the game gets funny, when you start overanalyzing every part of it. And we're in that phase with VAR and stoppage time. Like, give me a break. We looked so haggard, 96 minutes. Like, this is getting a little out of control from a refereeing perspective. And I think they're going to have to make a change, because look how many injuries we have. And this is probably going to be a theme for the season. But let's get into the match reactions. United 10 shots to Arsenal 17. 2 on target to their 5. We had 45% of the ball at their house. They had 55%. And Declan Rice's goal on the 95th minute was the latest winning goal ever scored in a Premier League fixture between Arsenal and Manchester United. I also want to say it has to do with extra stoppage time. And Arsenal are unbeaten in their last 6 Premier League games against Manchester United at the Emirates. Don't like that either. And Manchester United have not won any of their last 6 Premier League away games in London. Their longest such run since 2015 to 2016, between the spells of LVG and Jose Mourinho. So we are dying on away form, sir. I don't look at the table, but you put it here, and I'm not pumped to see us at 11th.
We're at 11th. City already, they're only 2 ahead of the second place team, but it already feels like they're running away with it, because I feel like they're
who's second place?
Spurs, Scousers, West Ham, Gunners, Brighton, Palace, Brentford, Forest, Villa, us. And there's 3 teams above us with the same amount of points, but our goal differential, as usual, is not so bueno, -2. But early in the season, and here we are, international break, sir. I feel like this is the exact same way we felt when we played the Gunners away last year. It's like we played well enough to get dude, I thought we were
flying. We were flying with the best midfield in the league. We were on point.
No, I know, but Casemiro
they were also on point, and we got hard done.
They were playing better last year. We were playing better last year going into this game. I agree, but I feel like we played well enough to at least get a point, and then we got hard done once again. That's all I was trying to say.
Yes, but the football on display in that game was unbelievable last year. Like, we were playing really well, and so was Arsenal. This was a little sloppier, in my opinion.
It was.
This game was up for grabs. But hey, let's get into it. The summer transfer window has closed. We are doing our summer transfer window recap.
Before we do, sir,
there's a lot to recap here.
Can we hear from Ayrton Hogg real quick? I'm sorry I didn't include the agenda, but I got him pulled up. Do you want to hear from the bald man?
I heard he was moaning about refs.
Well, hey, that's on brand. Let's hear him quickly.
Crucial decisions went against you there towards the end that probably turned that match for you.
Yeah.
Any views on that?
But you're already telling me, and I've seen it the same. It was similar. Performance was right, but the results were not on our side, and definitely many decisions were against us.
Who else?
Could you elaborate on what decisions and what you felt went against you? Could you discuss that a bit? Thanks.
Now, let's start there. The penalty given, but rejected. Everyone will see. It's a swabber. Not get booked for it. And then foul on Hoyland in the penalty area. Not even noticed. I think not even by the VAR judged. Then the disallowed goal from Garnacho. I think wrong angle, and you see. I think it's onside. And then the final goal. How can they allow that goal? It's a clear and obvious foul on Johnny Evans. Otherwise, he should blocked the shot from Declan Rice. So there's a lot.
He's not happy. A lot of the sentiment we said, sir, it's like he went through all the calls, a lot of bad calls, and it comes to VAR once again. Talked about the performance. Result wasn't right, but that's football. Just thought it'd be worth hearing from him before we head into the international break with 2 weeks off.
Look, I think the manager, I don't like to see the manager complaining about the ref, but I think that's just basically his job, right? I think all managers do that now, and the state of the game is just ridiculous. But Ten Hag, he hasn't started well this season. He's gotten it wrong a lot. His tactics in the opening game, even against Arsenal today, the tactics were just completely wrong. He did make the adjustment. In the other games, he couldn't make the adjustment. So that's something, but he has a lot of work to do with this team. There's plenty of injuries. The roster isn't complete, but man, we got to be seeing more of the second half when we come back. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough season. We got Brighton at home. I mean, we got to really get this thing going. We got to start playing good football. I think Hoyland will be a huge part of that. So let's see what we can get on the other side of the break.
Let's do it. Talk about it, sir. How was your summer transfer window? Everything you could have hoped for and more? Where's your new Rolls Royce center back? You got 3 strikers.
Hey.
Do we sell Jadon Sancho? Do we sell Martial?
So we do a summer transfer window recap. Alex, you want to run down the summary of the incoming signings?
It's a busy summer. I think it's as many signings as we've ever made. So first one, Mason Mount, 24-year-old English attacking mid, £55 million plus 5 from Chelsea. I don't know if you want to do the Zlatan or Overton now or later, sir. We can each make our prediction, but I can just go through.
Yeah, no, we're doing, of course. Sir, as a tradition.
You go first. Okay, you go first.
Mason Mount. He's a Zlatan all day. Mason Mount. That's we need more Mason Mount in our life. He's a Zlatan all day.
Overton. He's going to be a bust. It's like,
how dare you?
I know, but that's what we do here, sir. Why not? We're doing the transfer window.
Really?
Recap.
Mason Mount Overton?
I don't know, man. I'm worried. I never rated him at Chelsea. He's a United player. I always back every United player to the fucking death, but he looked like dog shit those first 2 games. Maybe he was carrying an injury that just got exposed in game week 3, but
it's the intangibles.
He's a Champions League winner.
Onana. Go down the next one.
Okay, Andre Onana, 27-year-old Cameroon international, signed from Inter Milan for £42 million plus 4. This is fucking easy, sir. Zlatan all day, bro. The fact that you like him, I like that. It's like he's got personality, bro. He's got personality.
Instantly. How many games? 4 games. Favorite player.
Favorite player.
He's got Zlatan in him.
No, he does.
He's got I'm bigger than this team. Just his reaction to the yellow card today, just that alone, because he's he's really playing it up. The way he's really
dude, they conceded.
He's just hysterical, and then he just stood up on Saka. The cheeky playing it out the back. I mean, he's just a larger than life character. And it's great when you find people when they play for United, they deserve to wear the kit. Oh, Nana is that player. He'll have some howlers. People chirp on him, but no, he's a big dog. Big dog.
I'm with you. I think he's going to be a star. We conceded that goal too quickly, and he's calming everybody down. And you need leaders. You need leaders.
He's the captain, dude. He's the captain.
He's a captain. We got lots of captains. I thought
we got one captain who moans and whinges.
He did a lot less whinging today, bro. I thought his leadership style was starting to blossom, but
but you know what I'm saying. Onana's got that. That's what the team needs in that moment was the calm down. I feel like he's got a good, You know what I'm saying?
I know how you feel about
I'm
my
not trying
boy.
to cheap shot Bruno, but he's got a lot of yellows for whinging. So Hoyland, what do you got? The Danish striker,
20-year-old Dane, 65 million plus 10. Bro, I didn't even see him kick the ball today, and I can already tell he's exactly what Manchester United need. He's big. Holy shit, he's fucking.
You're really?
I mean, he's not going to score 20 EPL goals this year, or even 15, but he's 20. I think if we give him time, he's a player. As long as he doesn't have these crazy injuries, and I'm hoping that he's ready to go with a broken back, and then that's behind him. I think he's he's fast, he's strong. They're talking about his mentality. It's too early to say, but he's in the Zlatan camp for me, not the Obertan camp.
He's Overton, unfortunately.
There you go.
I like him. I like everything about him, but Zlatan's scoring 20. Zlatan's
he came in at 30.
You know what I'm saying?
Came in one of the best strikers in the world.
I just think that the hype is too much, and it's unfair, right? It's only because he's just getting his career going, and he's going to be literally starting every game for Manchester United at number 9. I bet you he can have it, but you got to develop the talent the right way. I just think we're putting the cart before the horse, and we're just going to ruin him because we're going to just there's going to be nowhere to hide at United. Similar to Elanga, who I think is probably a player, but we just ruined him because we had nobody else and had to play him, and he wasn't scoring. That's more of what I'm getting at. It's probably the us versus him issue, but that's kind of what I'm.
That's a good point. He should play 25 games this year. He'll end up playing 45 games this year because Martial's worthless, and he's not going
to get service.
He will. I mean, we create the most chances of any team. We create a ton of chances, so he will get service today. We're playing against one of the harder opponents in the EPL. I do think he'll get his chances because he makes good movement. He's hungry. He's working off the ball.
Anthony doesn't cross with his right. Rashford is generally selfish.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro.
We haven't played with. I agree, but we haven't really if you think about it, it's going to be kind of what Arsenal was today. Just a lot of attacking on the wing, a lot of trying to pull it back from the midfield. Right? You saw how they're scoring or trying to score. Playing with the number 9 or playing with a Holland is a totally different objective, and I just think it's going to take the team a little while to get to delivering the ball into him, versus how he used to play.
That's a good point.
The next one, goalkeeper.
Altay Bayındır, 25-year-old Turk, signed from Fenerbahce for £4.2 million, backup goalie. Never heard of him before last week. Hey, he's a Red now, rooting for him. I think as a backup keeper, there's not that much pressure, so I'm gonna push. I'm not even gonna say.
You gotta.
I'm not even gonna push.
Baby. This guy's Overton all day.
It kind of looks like a stretched out Overton, with more hair.
I mean, this is just nobody.
Who knows? I have no idea.
Johnny Evans. Okay, I love you, Johnny, but you're based on
15
Johnny
minutes against Arsenal.
He got Overton. But the problem with Johnny is he should just literally not be playing.
No.
Playing in
Carabao Cup 3rd round against Palace, right?
But that's the problem. We just talked about United, and the issue is Johnny Evans having to close out a close game at the Emirates is that's our fucking game plan, and it's horrible. And I feel that's just who we are because of our horrible owners. Sergio Reguilon,
straight loan, 26-year-old Spanish left back. He's got a straight loan with a January out clause. We didn't even get Cucurella, bro, because they didn't want to spend £5 million.
This so funny. I can't even get over this one.
He's
this guy we were going to sign.
I know. And we signed Tellez. We ended up signing Tellez.
Yeah.
And he was terrible for Spurs.
Yeah, so he's horrible for so he couldn't even get the USDA prime beef transfer bust.
Yeah, Cucurella, at least he had a good season 2 years ago. Yeah, we went lower.
Yeah, we went lower. We're okay, instead of the number 1 transfer bust, we're going to get another, the number 2. So this is just Oberton all day. By the way, Delo looked amazing.
He did, but
the number 1 takeaway today is, Delo was a dog at left back, shutting down Saka. He played very well.
Terrific.
I've clapped him before, but the problem is he's got this level in him, which is, killing me sometimes because he's just got to be more consistent, but we might not need Reguilon. Reguilon ain't getting a game right now if Delo is going to play like that. And then Sofian Amrabat, I'm going to say Zlatan just because he looks like a dog.
He does.
Might need to play center back. That's because we're screwed if Magoo and Johnny are going to be the 2 back there. So in total, we spent £174 million. I think that covers the incomings. You want to go with the outgoings and just list them?
We're going to do faster because it's a lot of shit ton of outgoings. We sold Dino to Palace for £15 million plus 5. Smell you later. Anthony Elanga, 21-year-old Swede, to Nottingham Forest for £15 million. He looked great against Chelsea, scored the winner. Good on him. We sold Fred for $30 million to Fenerbahce for £8.5 million plus 4, which is a joke. Should have at least gotten 20 for that, but this is Manchester United. Mataj Kalvar, backup goalkeeper, went to Bayern Leverkusen for £4.2 million. Alex Telles went to Al Nassr for £3.9 million. Zidane Iqbal went to Utrecht for £800,000. We sold Ted and Menji on a permanent deal to Luton for a negligible fee. Mark Harado joined Espanyol for a negligible fee. Brandon Williams went on loan to Ipswich, right? You got to be able to sell him, bro. What's that about? Mason Greenwood, loan to Getafe. We're covering most of his wages. We're actually covering his
Why
apart-
is that? Like,
because they're going to bring him back because the Glazers ain't leaving.
No, but here's the deal. We just literally, like, the club just announced he's not playing for United, so you cancel his contract. You understand?
Yes.
Like,
Oh, yeah, you
when
pay
a
him out.
player isn't playing and
No, they're gonna bring
you
him back next
agree
year,
that
bro.
he has moral issues, and like you're literally like you're above it all, right? The club's taking the high road. He's not going to play with us. Cancel his contract. Like,
Correct.
what is going on? Why are we trying to make money off of him? This is like blood money. I was like so
You know why?
upset about this.
You know why?
What is going on? You can't say that he's not playing for the club. You cancel his contract. It's like, no, we're trying to make money off of him. What?
The Glazers aren't leaving, and the Glazers do everything for money, so they're going to bring him back next year.
You
Assuming he
can't
has a
say
good-
he's not playing for you, and then he's going to play. Like, what?
Well, maybe they'll bring him back and then try and sell him after they prove that he can still play football. But, like, it's a money decision. This is not a moral decision because this club is run by amoral
No, but this
people.
is outlandish. It's like,
Yeah, well-
after writing the statement they did, the only thing to do is like cancel
You
his
just
contract.
pay him
and let
out.
go.
Just call him and just smell you later, bro. You gotta
Yes.
kick him to the curb. So he's still a Manchester United player technically, even though he's on loan. Alvaro Fernandez went on a loan to Espanyol, so hopefully he'll get consistent game time. David De Gea left on a free. Twan Zabi left on a free. Phil Jones left on a free. Sabitzer end of loan. Wow, end of loan. Butland at a loan. So a lot of outs. A lot of not enough business done in terms of players we sold. We should have gotten way more money out of. And then the real question is dead wood not addressed.
No. I got to comment on Fred real quick. Like, when you mentioned Fred leaving the club is like, have you ever had like an old car and you're like, you gotta get like a new one, and you're like at the dealership, they're buying your old car, you turn it in, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna miss that car, and then you don't miss it at all. Yeah, that's Fred.
You don't miss Fred?
Like, everyone thinking that Fred was like something we needed around for like 5 years. It's like, don't miss him at all. Like, not a chance.
You got a
miss
chance.
Fred, you're like, where can I get this liability to play in the middle of the park?
You know, you
Get
got
out
a
of here.
chance to cut Fred on the way out, sir. You don't got to talk about Fred
No,
no
I'm
more.
just saying, like, that's like Fred. I'm
But
like,
as you said, sir,
I never looked at these rosters and been like, "Where's Fred?" That's the whole point. It's like we should have moved off of him, like with Mourinho. Is my point. We should have done it a long time ago.
we knew early. The thing about these players, bro, is like after a year or two, if they can't cut it, they can't cut it. It's like Sancho will never be a good player at Manchester United.
Yeah.
End of. He won't, bro. It's like there's no mystery there. And some like Donny Van de Beek, like Harry Maguire.
Okay, so this is the whole like players we should have sold. We did not.
Harry
sell.
Maguire, number
Go
one.
down the list.
Number one. Harry Maguire, £30 million deal to West Ham. He wanted full buyout of his contract in terms of the delta between what they are offering and what he's currently on. We were willing to like give him half of that, and he didn't take the deal. So here we are, stuck with fucking Harry Maguire, stinking it up. And you know what? His transfer fee is going to just keep going down, down, down. So that was a big L. They couldn't even give away Donny Van de Beek. He's so fucking worthless. One of the worst signings we've made in the last decade. So he's still around.
That's up there. Donny is up there as one of the worst.
Oh, it's
I
up
would
there for
agree.
sure, bro.
Yeah.
He's played
Donny's like
he's done
Donny's like a
nothing, bro.
decade. That's a decade. High.
Player that like I think has usefulness, but clearly is not in the coach's plan. Scott McTominay, like, hey, play center back, bro. You're probably better than Magoo. So he's still around. There was a late bid from Fulham because they were trying to get Fulham was going to sell Paulinho to Bayern, and then they needed a replacement last minute. That fell through. So Scott's still around, which actually I think will use him. Can't use Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly, like nobody wants Eric Bailly even just to like be a towel boy. There was small rumors about him on the block, but I talked about this a lot, bro. And ain't nobody buying Jadon Sancho because he's on £340,000 a week, the fourth highest paid player at the club, and he ain't no good. So he's still around, and it's getting worse because we got shit to talk about in the news. And then another player who you ain't never selling, ain't never getting nothing out of, Tony Martial, last year of his contract. Smell you later because He looked fucking awful today. Like he looks like he's just trying not to get. He's just jogging around.
He's healthy. I mean, like,
but he doesn't run.
I understand. I agree. Yeah, he's not great, but like, we only have 2 strikers. One is a broken back. He's out there on the field. Like, you understand. Like,
the guy with the broken back outran him. Like he was running all over the pitch today in his last 20 minutes.
I'm not trying to say that he's good. I'm just trying to say he played, which is like
he played.
No, but the theme around the Deadwood is basically like it's open heart surgery. You do bad deals, like legendary bad deals. Harry Maguire, Donnie Van de Beek, that's $120 million right there. Scotty McTominay, that's a great example of a player you should be getting something from. And then Jadon Sancho add another 70 million pounds. That's almost 200 million. You talk about Tony Marshall, $250 million that you're just going to drown in. And then the wages behind that, it's like, this is just bad. This is the Glazers hiring people who don't know what they're doing.
And
net spend for the window was, we only raised 47 million pounds. Net spend 126 million pounds. We were the 3rd highest club in the EPL for net spend. Chelsea had 204, Arsenal 124. This is just a differential, sir, based on your math. Everyone has different numbers.
The number's a little off, but it's directionally correct, right?
Yeah. So it's Arsenal and us around 124 million, then Bournemouth, then Tottenham, then Scouse Bastards. So regardless, not a huge, big spending summer, but United up in the table and not having a good window. I feel like we should have sold much better. I said at the beginning, we're horrible at selling. We do not know how to run a club. We do not have a serious front office. That's John Murtaugh. He is bad at his job. He overpays, and we can't sell and do deals. Like, getting Harry Maguire out the door is more important and taking an L on his contract than keeping him around and not signing another player. Like, this is the issue. Johnny Evans does not sign. You might love the storylines. Ten Hag might say, okay, but you can't sign. That's just not viable.
You can't.
So they are making these calls. The director of football said Johnny Evans can play at this level. He cannot. Director of football said, hey, I want to play hardball at Harry Maguire and just run down this deal at United when you had the chance to get him off the books. Like, these are bad decisions made by people with no experience. And the saddest part about it all is, like, I was watching the Newcastle Amazon Prime behind the scenes, and to see who they hired to run the football club, the CEO of Newcastle started the Atlanta United MLS franchise from scratch. No club, no manager, no players, no training ground. He built the entire thing from scratch, and then they won a title, right? And that's the guy you hired to run the team. And then the director of football came from Brighton. And hearing those guys talk about what they need and how they're running, the first thing they're doing is improving the training ground, the technology, the physios, like the injury recovery, like all of it is investing in that, right? And United has not done shit, right? And that tells you everything you need to know. It's like, who is Richard Arnold? He's done nothing. Who's John Murtaugh? He's done nothing, right? And so, like, you have a guy who's built a club from zero to a championship, and you have the director of football from Brighton, who's literally been one of the best DOFs in the EPL over 10 years, and those two guys went to Newcastle. And who's running our club? No one. And how do you look at this window? I'm going to grade it a D. Like, we have an incomplete team. These guys don't know what they're doing. You just saw Johnny Evans come in, not play well. You saw Magoo still on the team. These are all decisions from the front office. We have no striker. We got Tony Martial or this young Dane. It's incomplete. And they're giving a good manager incomplete team, and we're struggling. It's a D. And we didn't sell shit.
Yeah, I'm not far off. I give like a C- generously. It's like, it could have been way worse. But like you said, we were hamstrung by the fact that, like, we didn't sell Maguire and get in an upgrade of Pavard. We didn't sell Donnie and get in another CDM. We didn't sell someone else and get in a striker. It's just like, when you hire incompetence, when you hire people who are not qualified for the job, they're going to perform below what's expected for a club of this stature. And that's what's going to happen. The Glazers, they're not leaving. We'll talk about the news in a second. They've appointed this front office, both of those guys that really are in charge at the end of the day, and Richard Arnold and John Murtaugh. They shouldn't be there. They're not qualified to run a championship club, but here they are running the biggest club in the world. And you're going to suffer because all you do is you put all the emphasis on Erik ten Hag. He shouldn't be making all the decisions. You should be focused on the sporting element on the pitch. And instead, he's the head of the scouting. He's the director of football. He's the pseudo CEO. And that's not how you run a football club in 2023. So But they don't realize that. It's like they're still spending money. We're still pissing money away, and we're getting nothing out of it. So top 4 and a shitty piece of silverware. That's got to be our
No,
ambition.
you got to. We spent the money. It's just got to be. You have to be doing it in a more clever way. Like,
Yes.
why aren't we getting a striker on loan? Why aren't we getting another center back on loan instead of Johnny Evans? Like, there are moves to be made. I mean, they're not great moves, but they're moves because have a complete squad, and that's the problem. Like spending $80 million on Anthony. Like, I just don't know if that was the right move. And we have Ahmad, and we have Facundo, and we have Jadon Sancho. Like, there's too many players behind in different sections of the team where we have these big gaping holes in our roster. And you need cover for that, and we just are ignoring it. Like, we're playing like FIFA Ultimate Team. These guys just are complete numpties, and we're going to see it this season because we have an injury crisis, and we're barely hanging on. And the center back position, for us to see those players go down, it's like heart attack city. So let's get into the news.
Hey, John, you got any good news for me? For a pal? Come on. You got
Well,
anything good?
everyone's,
You got-
I mean, like, this isn't news if you've been listening to this podcast. Ultimately, there's like an article. I forget exactly who dropped it. One of the rags was like, United's not for sale anymore. They're holding out for $10 billion, going to relist the club in 2025. Look, we said it here. What was probably the biggest? Nobody's talking about the fact that the Washington Commanders, a.k.a. Redskins, a.k.a. Washington football team, in the United States, NFL teams sold for $6 billion. Blazers own Tampa Bay. They're like, why are we going to sell Manchester United for less when this horrible NFL team is going for more? That has to be the thought process. If you think about it from a comp perspective, you're comparing asset values across leagues. Like I said, the 39th game is coming. They will play games in the United States. Super League is coming. All this will be fought over the next probably 5 years. There's more money to be had for all these big European clubs, and Manchester United will be a part of that. I don't like it. I am a traditionalist, football pyramid, etc. But changes are going to be coming because the money's too good, and the Glazers are probably hanging on for that reason. We've talked about that on the pod at length, and ultimately nobody met their price. $6 billion for Manchester United when the Commanders are getting sold for $6 billion sounds like a deal to me. At the end of the day, and Qatar got cute, didn't offer it. I don't even think Ratcliffe could offer that amount of money because it's just too much. So at the end of the day, they said pencils down, allegedly, but someone wants to pay that price, I'm sure they'll sell. So the club's always for sale. If someone wants to offer them $8 billion, they'll sell it, Something is for sale. Someone's just got to pay the right price. So I think this is a bit of a nothing burger because we already knew it. But people are like, don't worry, it's just posturing. There's been a gulf in valuation. That's why there hasn't been anything going on in this process. So the idea that like this is posturing, I don't think is real. I really just think it is a pencils down moment. And, if Qatar wants to panic because they're saying this and bid $7 billion, then they'll get the club. So it's very straightforward. Just pay what they want and you'll get it.
They're holding all the cards. They are the controlling entity that decides the future of this club. They have all the Class B shares, so they decide what's going on. $10 billion, that won't happen in 2 years, but that might happen in 10 years, depending on what happens around European football in general, and as the EPL just continues to gain momentum on a global basis. These people, they want money, right? They care. They always show that money is the only thing they really care about. They don't respect the club. They don't respect the history. They don't respect the fans. They respect nothing about Manchester United other than its ability to line their pockets. So you said it, sir. It's a nice, elegant number. They want $1 billion a kid. There's 6 kids. They own 69% of the club. $10 billion. And then you wash out the debt. They effectively all walk away with $1 million. And that sounds like a nice number. They weren't toting $10 billion before. Now it's, it was 6. Now it's 10. But also you said some random buyer, some random sovereign government decides, hey, we want Manchester United. We want it today. If they offer above asking price, they will get it. Because as you said, everything is for sale. It's just a matter of price. And this is a long time coming, but the timing is this is not random. This is like the day after the transfer window closed, this shit leaked. And that's there's a reason, because they know that if they leak this in the middle of the summer, there's going to be more backlash, which is going to push them to spend. And instead, they do it after the window closes. Well, we can't do anything about it anyway. So fuck you. And here's Johnny Evans and Magoo sticking around. And there you go. Tony Marshall and Hoyland. So $10 billion. As long as the Glazers own this club, Manchester United will suffer. Erik ten Hag, he can't succeed, be successful the way he could at another club with them in
We
charge.
could play better football. I'm gonna
sure,
say.
but we finished third last year.
Better.
We finished third last year and won a piece of silverware and went to another final. So like he overperformed last year.
Everyone deserves a little. Like,
my point is that
here.
you plop in Klopp, you plop in Pep. If they were playing under the Glazers and John Murtaugh, Richard Arnold, they would not win the league. That's all I'm saying.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. I don't think we'd be playing as bad as I would hope Pep would have us playing a little better than we are. But yes, I do agree. The funny thing is Sky Cave, the guy I like to clown on, he goes,
your boy.
He tweeted, Manchester United bidders remain interested in buying the club. Nothing has changed yet as far as they are aware. Sources involved in the process say Glazers should take the money and go. They have 2 large bids which value the club more than his share price. And
he's an idiot.
The club being worth $10 billion is unrealistic. Like, this guy pretends to be like a smart guy on TV, but that is literally the dumbest tweet you could ever put together. It's unbelievable. Like, sources involved say the Glazers should take the money and go. It's like, that makes no sense.
What sources? Qatar? Ratcliffe?
Yeah,
exactly.
What
source?
The people who it's like. Guy who wants to buy
your house says you take the money and run.
A guy who wants to buy something he can't afford, wants to pay less and is upset. That's literally what he's saying. So look, this is just a racket. It's just a distraction. But the Glazers suck. You are right. We're going to struggle until they're gone. And welcome to the pain train. All aboard the pain train for the next couple of years. Speaking of pain train, UCL draw Group A, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Copenhagen, Galatasaray. Not the worst group. The group of death is PSG, Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle. That is insane. That's probably the hardest group I've ever seen in the Champions League, honestly. So we got away with one here. Bayern Munich will be good. We'll have a tough time, but beat Copenhagen, Galatasaray, we'll be fine.
It's a deceptively hard group. You're right. It's not the easy. It's not a City group. Like City get these lovely groups, unbelievable stuff. And then there's always a group of death. I feel like when we got PSG a couple years ago, we were in a group of death when we got knocked out by RB in that famous 3-3 game. Copenhagen, I'm sure they're an organized side, bro. That like the Danes, they play tidy football. Bayern have strengthened. We're gonna play Harry Kane. We're gonna play against the South Korean lad that we were attached to, the center back, and then Galatasaray. Farthest travel probably of any team in the Champions League, and playing in fucking Turkey is no joke. So it's not going to be an easy group to get out of, especially with the injuries that we're having. But Champions League football, it's all we care about, sir. Either finishing second of the group or finishing fourth, because I tell you what, I don't want no Hans and Franz ball.
Little story about FC Copenhagen. I studied abroad in Copenhagen a long time ago. Alex came to visit me. And we went to an FC Copenhagen game, and they actually serve you, in the United States, you can only buy 2 beers. They're like, hey, you got 2 beers you can have. They actually have a carrying device so you can get 6 beers. And Alex said, hey, can I get 2 sets of 6 beers? So you got 2 carrying case. You came back with a 12-pack.
I wasn't me, bro.
Unbelievable.
I came over for Thanksgiving. We did not go to a football game. I could guarantee you.
Yeah, it was you.
I could guarantee you.
Yeah,
it was a Dave. Was it Big Dave? Was it El Oso? I swear to God, I remember it like 3 divisions. We went to Amsterdam. We had a grand time. But we didn't go to no football game. I would have loved to.
Well, maybe it wasn't Alex.
It was Big Dave. I think it was also
12 beers, but it was a good buddy of mine. And FC Copenhagen, savage.
Was it fun? Good fun? I bet it was.
They literally give you carrying devices so you can buy more beer.
Well, the Danes are very civilized, bro. They like to drink, but they also stay in line. So I think they could trust them. Whereas if you did that in England, people will be killing each other.
I'll tell you. Based on the last time we went to Manchester United game, Alex would take 12 Guinness if he could to his seat for sure.
My bloated feet.
Next bit of news: Facundo Palestre to stay at Manchester United at this window. I think this is good news, honestly. Unfortunately, Ahmad went down, and we're going to need support. And he's looked good coming on. The problem is the manager doesn't like to play him. That's the one thing I find a little strange with Palestre. He's always looked good, but I just don't think he's going to get the minutes.
He needs the minutes because, like, we've seen this last year, right? Wout got way too much time, way too much gameplay when Palestre was available. I think this speaks to the fact they didn't strengthen the striker at all, right? Like, obviously Højlund, but we should have gotten another striker given Martial's injury woes and how important that position is in the EPL. So Facundo, he should get minutes over Anthony. Anthony is not infallible. Like, that guy, he's showing more promise than Sancho, but he has a long way to live up to that huge price tag. So... And there's a lot of games. So he's sticking around. Hannibal's sticking around. Ahmad should eventually be coming back from injury. Kobe's going to come back from injury. So there's a young crop that excites me. It's just that we got to, like, get through this defensive injury crisis. Because today, going in, you know, we're missing 3/4 of our back line. So not great. So we got to just survive this coming months.
Last bit of news here we're going to touch on is...
Scapegoat.
Sancho. Erik ten Hag asked why Sancho was in the. He was asked specifically about McTominay and Sancho after the Arsenal game. He said McTominay is ill, and he said Sancho did not train to a performance level at Manchester United is needed, and he was not selected as a result. Sancho, as is probably within his character, does not take the L and goes immediately on Twitter and says, quote, "Please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue. I've conducted myself in training very well this week. I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I will not go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. All I want to do is play football with a smile on my face and contribute to my team. I respect all decisions that are made by the coaching staff. I play with fantastic players and I'm grateful to do so, which I know every week is a challenge. I will continue to fight for this badge no matter what." So a lot of nothing there. He respects the coaching staff, but will tweet.
Yeah, he respects it so much
that doesn't make sense to me.
No.
And him coming out and saying this is like, what are you doing here? For me, this is a red flag. I don't know what. Sancho has clearly gone radioactive. He was sent out last year, never commented on it, right? The manager sent him to Holland to train on his own. He came back. No one asked any questions. It seemed to be like that was the right move from Ten Hag because it showed that he had his back. Maybe he was going through something personal. No one really commented on it. And then now, with this early in the season, for Sancho to tweet this, like, he's gone. Like, I mean, he's dead. Like, he ain't going to get into the team now. You're going to be clapping back at the manager after a press conference and saying what he says is untrue. I don't know. That's bizarre. He was clearly not selected for a certain reason. And every time we've seen Ten Hag not select someone,
there's a reason. And you know what? Who do you believe? I believe our manager, because, like, Jadon Sancho, we signed him for big money, and the real mistake was we gave him huge fucking money. He's on £340,000 a week, and he should be on like £140,000 a week. And he gave him, dude, the manager protected him last season, gave him 3 months to train. Like you said, we don't know. There could be personal problems.
But like,
just one second. They could be personal problems, but he protected the player and let him get up to match fitness. And now
it was a deal. It probably was a transfer that fell through, is what I think. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what, last January?
No, this week probably was he didn't train or something because he was going to be sold and he wasn't sold.
Or a loan or something.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like that's probably what he didn't want to go into.
Right? Yeah, and I thought that was
like the manager didn't want him there. Like, the manager doesn't want him at like, basically, I don't think the manager wants him at United. And we were trying to sell him and we didn't sell him and then he didn't include him or something. Like, so I could see Sancho being right and Ten Hag also being right.
100%, which is just like mess at Manchester United. Never a dull day. He's not going to be sold because no one's going to buy him. We spent the money. It's like we're going to have to subsidize his contract if we move him off anywhere. Dude, he hasn't been consistent. He doesn't look that hungry. He's had issues with fitness.
Yeah, I mean, like, either we buy the worst players in the world or we also ruin players. You know, so
it's also on them. It's also on the player.
I agree, but
do we ruin Bruno Fernandes, or did he just come and like graft and just work his fucking ass off? It's like these guys come in, we give him huge money. He is.
Like
he is the exception to the rule.
Like Fred definitely came in and was like not great.
No.
Right? You know, you could just go down the list. Harry Maguire, you could like even Anthony to his, you know, like you could just go down the list and be like, players come here and we are the touch of death. Like, you know, it's rough. And it's and like seeing Sancho go this sideways is bad. Clearly you needed to sell him for like 30.
Yep.
Like you have to like start. The problem with the team is we haven't gotten good at taking the L's, which is basically like pay off their contract, get him out of the club, get a new guy in, like pay off Sancho, pay out his wages, sell him to a different club. Like you need to just like literally take it on the chin and get players gone. And we'll keep you posted. But again, another 70 million pound player going rogue on social media, not what you want to see from a man management perspective. Jumping to fan questions. At Ike_Yagola, quote, Garnacho is a super sub. He's more effective from the bench. Højlund just retired Martial. Delo was done dirty. United can't win away from home. A very worrying trend. We lost our starting center backs for a very long period. I mean, I'm hoping we can get some sort of back line back post-international break. At Charlie_Ferris, up until extra time, thought we showed lots of improvement. The goal was incorrectly overruled, but the marking on Rice's goal was piss poor. A draw was probably fair. Højlund showed real promise. Hopefully we get healthy during international break. Hashtag Glazers out. At Glazers out FC, my blood pressure right now, I think De Gea saves that. Heartbreaking and a long international break ahead. If we're looking for a positive, is that we hung in there against a good team and had the Garnacho goal counted. I think we won. Do you think De Gea saves that, by the way?
I give him a break because there was a deflection. It wasn't a straight shot. It like hit off one of the defenders and then went in. Maybe he saves that. It's hard to say, bro. He's had howlers too, so it's like it happens.
No, I know. It's like the most United.
You don't know. It's like, yeah, Prime De Gea, it saves it all day. He's always with his fucking eyes closed. But, like, we haven't seen Prime De Gea week in, week out for a while. So, it's hard for me to believe. That was a mess, bro. It's like Evans gets pulled down, like you said, and then he shoots it, deflects off, and it goes in. It was just one of those days, bro. After we got the VAR overturned, I was like, oh, we're fucked now. Because that's how football goes. It's like they miss a chance, and then we score. Or we score, and then it's just like that. Football is end to end, and like if you don't take your chances at one end, or you get bad luck on one side, it flips to the other side, and that happens all the time.
At 25 Christian GD 25, number 1, Onana really likes to thread the needle with his passes. LOL.
Unbelievable.
Number 2, Kane leaves and Tottenham do well. I feel like we have the players that need to leave and rebuild the culture of the team. A lot of soft serve FC. What do you think?
It's 4 games. It's 10% of the EPL season. It's like hard to draw a conclusion, right? It's like I don't think they're better without Harry Kane, but they have a new manager, so like
he's legit, dude. I've watched the documentary about him, and it's like incredible.
Let's see where they are at the end of the season. Let's see where they are.
Like I'm just saying,
34 more games, then we'll see what's up.
No, but you should watch this YouTube documentary on him. He got like fired and was like had no job, and then he started managing again, and he literally like managed Australia.
He was in Japan, right?
He's like a journeyman who's gone to all these teams, and basically in like a season he's turned them around completely and won the league. It's like he's just unbelievable. He's done it at like 4 or 5 different teams, and this run he's been on, because like clearly an Aussie, coming to now manage Tottenham is crazy, but his run he's been on has been insane. It's just the repeatability of what he's been able to do. Because like Kane gone, he said it. At Jordan_R, quote, United didn't deserve a 3-1 defeat. VAR gives and takes, but my God, the extra time is extremely arbitrary and borderline abusive to the players and my mental health. I totally agree. At Rolling Deep 1995, I think we lost because we got fearful, dropped back into the box. We conceded the first goal and tried to pack the goal when Rice scored. Went to our 5th and 6th choice center backs, and so this international break will be a blessing. Lots to come from Højlund. I think we end on the positive note. Let's hope we can get healthy. If we can't get healthy, we're going to have a horrid season. I'm not surprised Ron went down, but to see Alessandro is brutal, and we need to get Højlund running full steam ahead for Manchester United so he can be that Zlatan signing we need him to be.
tell you what, we've been stacking overtimes for years, bro. A decade of overtimes, like overpriced overtime was cheap. Remember, they were like, that was the Glazers. That was the first full Glazer move in 2009 when they sold Ronaldo. Tevez left for free, and they basically signed like nobody. Overtime for like $8 million and fucking Michael Owen for free. So we've been stacking them for like 70, 80 million now. So we got to get the center backs. I think if we get the center backs fit, even Lindelof Martinez, but like if you got Maguire and Evans, we're against like fucking Brighton or Bayern, that's gonna be tough goings, my man.
We got a team. There's a team there. We were playing good football. We just got to get healthy. It's a long season. I know that's not what we want to see. Could have had a better start.
Always.
But here we are. We're going to do a little history throughout the international break. So expect that next weekend. Then we'll get you a preview before the Brighton game, which I think is another great game we got to break down next week. So everybody have a great international break. Sir, you got our top 10 downloads.
Yes, sir. Number one, how you doing? Los Angeles, California, New York, Chicago, Illinois, Charlotte, North Carolina, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Brooklyn, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Seattle, Washington, last but not least, Phoenix, Arizona. Appreciate all the Miracle Devils listening week in, week out. We couldn't do it without you. Enjoy international break. We'll be back next week, like John said, with some history. And hopefully things calm down in the meantime because the news is a swirling, my man.
International break. Everyone enjoy this break for Manchester United for the moment. Let's get healthy and let's get to playing some really good football, which I didn't know we can do. Sir, what's our song you got?
But still the nation sings. Enjoy your break. We'll talk to you all soon.